Our next inductee is Gary Mayabb. Gary is our second inductee, being honored for distinguished service. To say that wrestling has been a big part of Gary's life would be a vast understatement. You could easily ask the question, where would Gary be without wrestling? And you could just as easily flip that question around to ask, where would wrestling be without Gary? If there is any aspect of wrestling that Gary has not been a part of, I'm not sure what it would be. Obviously, he competed here for the Mules. He spent 32 years as a coach in the North Kansas City School District, where he produced 335 dual match wins at Oak Park and Staley High Schools, coached 43 individual state champions, won 7 team state championships and 7 state runner-up finishes. He was named a state or region coach of the year 10 different times. He has been involved in numerous programs for USA Wrestling, both as a competitor and as a coach. He is also considered one of the top wrestling referees in the country, having worked many Division I matches between top-ranked teams, as well as the NCAA Division I championships for a number of years. Gary's wife, Dorothy, the Hall of Fame inductee herself in 2016, as part of the UCM wrestling table crew, was unable to be here today. They have 3 daughters, Caitlin and Kelsey and Briley. The Mayabbs currently live in Colorado Springs, where Gary is adjusting to his new job as manager of Greco-Roman programs for USA Wrestling. He said he came to Central Missouri because of the teacher education program and Mules Wrestling. He credits former Mules Wrestling coach Roger Dinker with being a major influence in his life. He says Roger created a home for him on the team as a walk-on. He said he has countless great memories from his Central Missouri career. And those memories, both on and off the mat, have led to lifelong friendships with many of his former teammates. Earlier this month, Gary was inducted into his high school Hall of Fame in Cameron, where he was a member of a state championship team. Today, we are happy to add him to our Hall of Fame. Now let's enjoy a video tribute to Gary Mayabb.
For the family of Gary Mayabb, his first birthday evokes somber memories, as it was also the day Gary's father passed away. Mayabb says he was blessed to find mentors to help fill the void created by his father's untimely death.
There were men that seemed to be always in my life that made a difference, be it older athletes or, in this particular case, two coaches, Coach Dinker and Coach Tuck. You know, I call them every Father's Day, doesn't matter where I'm at, because they made a difference.
When Mayabb was a 5th grader, Bill Tuck, an outstanding wrestling coach, reached out with an invitation that would change his life.
A man that was new to the district there in Kearney put his hand on me and said, you're going to wrestle, meetings at 3 o'clock. Still this day, as wrestling has transformed my life and been such a rich part of it, you're always looking for that open door. And do you walk through the door or not? And in that case, I did.
Before his junior year in high school, the family moved from Kearney to nearby Cameron, Missouri, where Mayabb became an outstanding wrestler and a state finalist. He decided to wrestle at the University of Central Missouri in college for legendary coach Roger Dinker. An upperclassman on the team would become a lifelong friend and colleague.
Getting to know him was pretty special. First of all, he was very small, and I was small, but he was probably 20 pounds smaller than I was, and so him coming into a collegiate room and being a part of that was a big deal. That was a real challenge, I know, for Gary.
Colleges aren't 10 deep now at 118. We were 10 deep, and I was the 10th guy. One day I looked up, I went, okay, haven't gotten a takedown, I don't know anything about wrestling, and I'm struggling a little bit academically. So I quit. I quit for like 3 days. And I go walking up to Wood Hall to go to class, 10 o'clock in the morning. Coach Dinker is sitting on the steps, and he says, well, Gary, you know you're coming off that injury, and I know it's hard right now, and I know you need a couple of days off, but man, you need to be back in that room. There wasn't anything wrong with me outside the fact that I had quit. So what I did what I did with father figures. I turned around and went to practice that day. I never thought about quitting again.
During Mayabb's sophomore year, his best friend from high school joined him as an incoming freshman and roommate at Central Missouri. The young man had been diagnosed with lymphoma during his senior year in high school. Witnessing his friend's courageous example was an eye-opening experience.
You know, I watched him fight for 2.5 years. This young man was phenomenal. I mean, Charles Scott, he was president of student body at Cameron, the first state champion at our high school. We were there in East Ellis one time, Hall, and he'd come off of a double bout of chemo to try to save it or prolong his life, really. And he got sick in the middle of the night, and I put him in a shower, and we just tried to make sure that he lived through the night. You watch a man fight for his life that's truly a young man at best, and it changes you.
Mayabb went on to a great collegiate wrestling career. He was a two-time team captain, an MIAA conference champion, and most outstanding wrestler in the conference in 1983. Mayabb was also an NCAA national qualifier. After completing his degree, he became a graduate assistant coach for the Mules, working with his former teammate and then head wrestling coach Mike Haggerty.
He had so much passion for the sport. He had passion to try to help others. He was still in competition mode, and he was training himself. And so he was an inspiration to a lot of other guys just watching what he was doing.
He competed and thrived in the sport until the age of 31. He was a U.S. Open finalist and a 4-time Olympic trials qualifier. Professionally, he became a teacher and a wrestling coach. He left his mark on Oak Park High School, building the Northmen into a powerhouse, the only Missouri high school to win 5 consecutive state wrestling championships. In 2008, Mayabb had an unexpected opportunity to start a new wrestling program at Staley High School. The Falcons won their first state title in 2017 as their head coach completed his final season. Mayabb was hired in early 2017 by USA Wrestling as the manager of Greco-Roman programs.
Well, Greco just appeals to me because there's a roll your sleeves up blue collar approach to it, that 2 guys standing upright and somebody's going to throw somebody. And so the sport is so beautiful when it's done right. Number one, right now I'm on the road real hard for 2 years trying to set up a network of communication, allow us to take some of these talents and then add resources to them and hope push these athletes forward on an international level.
In addition to his wrestling and coaching achievements, Mayabb, like his friend Mike Haggerty, is a highly respected collegiate wrestling official. A devoted family man, Mayabb and his wife Dorothy are the parents of 3 daughters. His work with the USA Wrestling's Greco-Roman programs keeps Mayabb at the forefront of developing the sport and leading America's finest competitors onto the world stage. His philosophy in life and coaching is perhaps best summarized by his favorite George Bernard Shaw quote. Gary Mayabb has endured the hammer of life's challenges. Some blows may have knocked him down, but none have left him defeated.